The day began with a sentence that cracked open my quiet life like thunder over still water. A sentence that carried desperation, pride, and a fragile hope all at once. It reached me on an ordinary afternoon in Ohio, when the sky was pale and the streets were silent, and it stirred something I had buried deep after years of loss. I did not know then that this moment would change not only my future, but the meaning of family, faith, and second chances for everyone involved. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and the power of unexpected connections, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are quietly breaking. My name is Michael Carter, a widower in my late 40s, living alone in a modest house on the outskirts of Dayton. My life had settled into a routine of work, church on Sundays, and long evenings with memories that refused to fade. My wife Rebecca had passed away years ago after a sudden illness, leaving behind an emptiness that no amount of prayer seemed to fill. We had wanted children, but life had chosen a different path, and I learned to accept solitude as a form of obedience to God's will. Or at least, that is what I told myself. The message came through a mutual church contact, a woman named Margaret Wilson, known for her tireless service and quiet strength. She spoke of her daughter, Hannah Wilson, a woman in her early 30s who had carried more burdens than most. Hannah had been a caregiver to her father during a long battle with illness, had set aside her own dreams, and now found herself labeled by society as late, behind, or incomplete. Margaret was not cruel, but she was worried. She believed marriage would secure her daughter's future, protect her from loneliness, and give her a place of belonging. When she expressed her concern, something in me responded before logic could intervene. I had not been looking for marriage. I had not even admitted to myself that I was lonely. Yet the thought of opening my home, my life, to someone who understood sacrifice felt strangely right. I suggested, without drama or hesitation, that Hannah could come to my house, meet me, and let God decide the rest. It was not romance speaking. It was faith mixed with fatigue and a longing to serve again. Hannah arrived 2 weeks later, driving an aging sedan from Indiana to Ohio. She stepped onto my porch with careful posture, her eyes holding both strength and exhaustion. She was not what the world would call impressive at first glance, but there was a depth in her presence, a quiet dignity shaped by years of responsibility. She carried her own bags, insisted on helping with dinner, and spoke more through actions than words. From the beginning, our home felt less empty. Life did not transform overnight. We lived cautiously, respectfully, like two people walking across thin ice. Hannah took a temporary job at a local library, and I continued my work as a building inspector. Evenings were filled with shared meals, silent prayers, and occasional laughter that surprised us both. The house, once heavy with grief, began to breathe again. Yet challenges surfaced, as they always do when broken histories meet. Hannah carried guilt for wanting more than a life of service. She felt torn between honoring her parents and claiming her own future. I carried fear, the kind that whispers that happiness is temporary and loss inevitable. We struggled in our own quiet ways, retreating into solitude when emotions grew too heavy. There were moments when I questioned whether I had invited more pain into my life than I could bear. What changed us was not a grand event, but a series of small, faithful acts. Hannah began tending the neglected garden behind the house, restoring life to soil I had ignored for years. I fixed the broken fence she had noticed on her first day. We volunteered together at a local food pantry where stories of hardship humbled us and reminded us that our wounds were not unique. Slowly, trust replaced caution. One winter evening, as snow covered the streets and the world felt hushed, I realized that the ache in my chest had softened. The memories of Rebecca no longer felt like chains, but like blessings that had prepared me to love again. Hannah, in her gentleness, had never tried to replace my past. She honored it, just as she honored her own. In doing so, she taught me that love does not erase loss, it redeems it. Margaret visited us in the spring. She saw the way Hannah moved freely in the house, the lightness in her laughter, the peace in her eyes. She did not ask questions or demand outcomes. A mother's worry had been replaced by gratitude. I understood then that her original concern had never been about status or tradition. It had been about her daughter's safety in a world that can be unforgiving to single women who choose duty over desire. Our decision to marry was quiet, prayerful, and free of pressure. It was not driven by fear of aging alone or fulfilling expectations. It was a commitment born from shared healing and mutual respect. We married in a small church in Ohio, surrounded by friends who had witnessed our journey. There was no dramatic declaration, only a promise to walk forward together, trusting God with every uncertain step. As life settled into a new rhythm, I saw how God had used a simple, unexpected invitation to restore two broken paths. Hannah found the freedom to dream again, enrolling in courses she had postponed for years. I found joy in planning for a future that once felt impossible. Our home became a place of welcome, a shelter for others carrying silent burdens. Before this story comes to a close, take a moment to comment below if you believe that God can write beautiful endings from unlikely beginnings. Your words may encourage someone who feels forgotten. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can arrive quietly and still change everything, please like this video, share it with others, and stay connected to the channel. Your engagement helps spread messages of hope to those who need them most. This story is not about a man offering marriage or a mother seeking security. It is about obedience, humility, and the courage to open one's door when God calls. Sometimes the miracle is not in the grand gesture, but in the simple act of saying, "Come in," and trusting that grace will do the rest.